To have someone in the anti-MLM space who is seen as a leader promote content reminiscent of boo distributors, spreading misinformation and promoting this opens a door to damage of not only anti-MLM activism and credibility around that, being evidence-based, science-based, but also to people's health. Hi folks, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Kat. I'm a licensed registered dietitian nutritionist, and on this channel we like to discuss weight neutral focused approaches to health, as well as diving into scammy and, in my opinion, unethical nutrition related businesses, products, mostly nutrition related MLMs, and other fear mongering nutrition and health claims. If you follow me on my channel, you are probably familiar that I usually stick to MLMs or distributors of MLMs, specifically the distributors making wild claims. But today we need to talk about something that is going on within the anti-MLM activist movement. It's on a small level overall, thankfully, but it's still happening and, in my opinion, harmful to the credibility of anti-MLM activism and the movement as a whole. I normally make notes for the videos that I do, but this one I really scripted out, and I want to be very careful and intentional with this one. So I have my notes right here. This will not only help me with on the editing side of things, but also not to be as long-winded, as sometimes I can go off on a tangent. So if you see me kind of looking down, I will try not to do that that much, but that's what I'm looking at. So I think that sometimes people can be nervous or scared to call out a specific person's behavior, especially when they're on the same side, in this case anti-MLM. Whether that fear is rooted from not wanting to rock the boat, or not wanting to cause a bigger diversion or a diversion from a bigger focus like anti-MLM, or the fact that they don't want to be labeled as a drama maker, or any mix of those reasons, I can understand, but this is a potentially harmful place to stay silent on, in my opinion. I also want to be very clear. Do not send any hate on my behalf. I think sometimes people can go do some unproductive commenting or harassing, but there is a productive way to talk about something. I just don't want people to go over to her channel or anything and start being rude without taking into account just from the human psychology that makes people feel, or can make people feel, attacked and double down and dig further. That doesn't help anything. Also, I want to make it clear, you talking about something in a truthful manner is not you talking shit. You standing up for the incredibly important work done in anti-MLM activism is not you starting drama. There is no one specific way of thinking in the movement. There is not a cult mentality. So it is okay to talk about things that you don't agree with. And if you aren't allowed to criticize the behavior of anybody that's on your side, that's a sign you might be in a cult. So we are going to talk about this, but I just ask you to put your adult hat on and act accordingly. I do normally try to focus on the behaviors of MLM distributors while hiding their names and blurring faces. So I thought about potentially doing that here, but I also know that sometimes that can cause things to blow up in a more unproductive way. So we are not doing that. This is a public figure. First off, I want to give a huge shout out to the Plague Doctress over on TikTok. A friend had originally shared the video that I'm about to share here, but I had no idea that this was happening, and Plague Doctress really worded this well, why this is so harmful, and I just wanted to take that and add to the conversation. So let's step back, watch that TikTok really quick, and we'll discuss more.
We get it. You don't get it. Come on, Lisa. You don't get it.
All right, Jessica, the kid gloves are coming off, so buckle the fuck up. I was super nice to you and patient in my last response to you, where I explained why this is pseudoscience, why you're incorrect, and how you were primed for a confirmation bias. I was very kind and very patient in that video. This video is not going to be that. I like the anti-MLM community online, because in case you didn't know this about me, I fucking hate grifters and scammers. And I know that you've built a pretty large online platform on the premise of being anti-MLM. The irony of this entire situation is not lost on me. The fact that you made it to the top of a pyramid in a bunk bullshit health and wellness pyramid scheme by making false claims about people's health and harming who knows how many people along the way. No matter how much anti-MLM content you make now, you'll never change that, right? You probably irreparably damaged many people's lives. That just is how it is. That's just the fact of the matter. So I don't understand why you can apply skepticism to pyramid schemes and MLM business models, But you still can't seem to apply any iota of skepticism to health claims being made on the internet. I don't understand this level of cognitive dissonance, and it shows me that you truly did not learn any lesson from getting out of that pyramid scheme. And I think you're just riding the coattails of the MLM movement because you found a niche and you want to exploit it and make money, just like you've exploited other people to make money in the past in a pyramid scheme. I think you're a crappy person, to be honest, and you know that this could damage people's health and at very worst could kill people, and you're continuing to do it because you don't give a fuck.
So that was a lot. So what's going on? A little backstory behind the TikTok and what we're talking about. So Jessica Hickson is an AntiMLM creator on YouTube and TikTok. She was formerly in It Works. I did a video on It Works, I think like 2 years ago, if I remember correctly. I'll try to put a link to that review up here somewhere. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I know everything about Jessica or her content. We haven't ever interacted, and I don't watch her content except for what I was looking at, trying to find to gather information for this video based on the original video that I was sent by Plague Doctress. But I was able to do a lot of information gathering from her very public health journey videos. So about that backstory. So she got COVID a while back and ultimately and unfortunately got parosmia and has been experiencing it to where everything tastes and smells like garbage as a part of long COVID for the past 2 years. She has been publicly documenting her journey with that and trying to find treatment and support for that specifically. Now, it is a pretty big deal to lose something that you use all the time, such as taste and smell. So I really empathize with that, and especially with all the content I do around having and building a healthy relationship with food. I mean, that can take a lot of the joy out of eating, if not all of the joy out of eating. And I do really hope that she is able to overcome that. But let's put a pin in that. Along with her publicly shared health journey, she has also talked about personal deworming due to believing that she has worms in her digestive system. Now, in late October, from what I can tell, she did a 3-day fast.
If you guys like that worm story, you are not even ready in the slightest for what I'm about to tell you happened after I did a 3-day fast last week.
This 3-day fast was to, quote, reset your digestive system, end quote, which isn't a thing. We don't reset our digestive systems. Supposedly it would also help with the way food tastes and smells. Now, to add some backstory, she also did a video about going to Walgreens to get some stuff to deworm herself.
So am I on my way to Walgreens to pick up a dewormer to deworm myself? Yes.
All right, so fast forward back to the fast. She did the fast and then she ate Chick-fil-A, which, side note, in the description box after my channel was monetized, I decided that 10% of all funds of this channel is donated to a specific nonprofit, either changing monthly or quarterly. And this quarter will be Borderland Rainbow Center, which is an LGBTQIA community center in El Paso. But anyway, she did the fast, she ate Chick-fil-A, and then she went to the restroom and found what she believed to be a worm. Fast forward to December, she then stitches her 3-day fast video with a new video, this time excitedly sharing that Paragard reached out to her to try their product.
I look at the toilet and there's something in there. So you guys probably remember me from that last video. So that was just the result of a 3-day fast. But when I tell you I was shooketh when I saw what I saw in the toilet, I was shooketh. Shortly after that, I learned that up to 100 of them could be living and thriving inside of your intestines, living off of the sugar that you eat at any given moment. So when Paragard reached out and asked me to try their product, I was like, hell yeah, brother.
Fast forward again, mid-December, she got sick with a sinus infection, which is not fun. But then she began, as she was getting better, and through that, she began to be able to smell and taste food. And some people have shared anecdotes that once they got sick a second time, their smells and tastes come back. So it seems like that was what was happening. Since then, though, in a more recent video, she has mentioned that after a day and a half, that everything went back to tasting and smelling like garbage or rotten. And I do really hope that she gets recovery from that soon. So with all of that background info, she recently posted a video with Paragard product placement. and text saying, when people try to say you don't need to deworm, but they haven't had the traumatic experience of seeing literal worms exit their chocolate factory. This is where that video that I played before from the Plague Doctress comes into play. So I hope that gives a sufficient background to what I'll be talking about further. Now, she also has publicly shared being against vaccination and is a conservative Republican, which I find kind of interesting. American politics have gone kind of extreme in the area of health, and we've seen a lot of pseudoscience, anti-vax to QAnon as kind of like this pipeline. And so when we see someone who is platforming health-related pseudoscience, like information or products, or in support of that, red flags go up. And I think anti-MLM activist and friend of mine, Mombi, said it really well when she said, it's hypocritical to be ethically opposed to MLMs but still promote pseudoscience. Now, I mentioned that Jessica is an anti-MLM creator, and one of the main reasons why I'm making this video is because she is seen as a leader in the activism movement. She has a significant amount of followers across YouTube and TikTok, way more than me at least, and she was featured in an anti-MLM conference last year. So just to be clear, this is not like a small creator or anything. This is a very public person, public figure in this space at least. So because of her reach and platform, we need to be able to have conversations where we can constructively talk about potentially harmful things, just as we do when we discuss the claims and actions of various MLM distributors and companies. Now, going back to some of the health issues that Jessica has been publicly sharing, desperation in illness is a huge vulnerability in getting into pseudoscience areas and MLM in general. So I have a lot of compassion for that, but less for somebody who has been platformed as a leader in the movement, again, with the conference and the follower number. Compassion for the desperation? Absolutely. But I expect a lot more from someone with her following and anti-MLM stance. I might understand her trying to do that like behind the scenes on her own if she was really struggling with that vulnerability and trying to find treatment. Like, I get it. But the attitude in response to people like the Plague Doctress and with the previous stitches on TikTok discussing concerns and promotion of pseudoscience to a larger audience, like, hard pass. That is not okay in my opinion. I was in a desperate place when I got into MLM in the first place, but now knowing the tactics and the truth behind MLM and nutrition related health scams, I should lose my audience if I become a grifter and start promoting pseudoscience. And you may be wondering, like, why specifically this? Why am I getting heated over this? If you've been a subscriber for a while, you are probably familiar with Black Oxygen Organics, or BOO, the MLM that sold dirt, the MLM whose distributors were running wild, taking pictures of their bowel movements and claiming how everybody needed the product to get rid of the parasites in their digestive systems, saying everybody had them. The same MLM who sent me and a friend a cease and desist for making videos of them here on YouTube. The anti-MLM movement worked with a couple of key former BOO distributors to basically just crush it. But it was a lot of work for the movement as a whole. We worked way too hard with BOO for this kind of stuff to be happening in our own community. Now, if you were following me when all of the BOO stuff was going on, this will not be new information, but I just want to reiterate it again, how harmful this kind of trend of deworming is. If you want to go watch, especially in the first video I did of BOO, I went into a little bit more depth about this. I actually spoke with a parasitologist. It was somebody who has her PhD in studying parasites specifically. But as a summary, the whole deworming oneself is filled with fear mongering. If you're living in a developed country like the US and Canada, for example, parasite infections are very infrequent. And I asked her the question of, should we regularly be partaking in detoxing or deworming to get rid of parasites, potential parasites specifically? And the response was that parasitic infections occur so infrequently in humans that the risk of infection is very low and does not require regular detoxing or deworming for that. Very few parasitic infections are asymptomatic, meaning that if you have a parasite infection, you will know. And if you know, and if you're having those symptoms, you need to see a doctor, a medical doctor, not some kind of like homeopathic kind of a holistic alternative medicine doctor who's not really a medical doctor. Concerns of these kind of practices can lead to diarrhea or dehydration, which can lead to a very dangerous outcome. And also the worms that people assume, or what they assume to be worms in the toilets, is actually the lining of the intestines. And so I shouldn't have to really tell someone if something is causing damage to your organs by shedding the mucosal lining, which looks like worms, and disrupting a healthy digestive system, the microbiome. It is not a health promoting thing. It's not something that we should be promoting or platforming. Now, this leads to the main reason why I wanted to talk about this. To have someone in the anti-MLM space who is seen as a leader promote content reminiscent of boo distributors spreading misinformation and promoting this opens a door to damage of not only anti-MLM activism and credibility around that being evidence-based, science-based, but also to people's health. Using a platform of people who have felt safe to follow you in their journey of leaving MLM, only to turn around and use that platform to promote misinformation, that is a big issue in my opinion. It's a big concern that I have. I care for the people who are trying to deconstruct from their MLM and who are still at a very high risk of falling into pseudoscience beliefs. To see that kind of content is really concerning. Pseudoscience is harmful in several ways, many ways. It can directly produce harm in the form of like harmful cleanses and supplements in general, something like shedding your intestinal mucosal lining. It can also deprive time and resources from evidence-based treatments, making real problems turn into bigger problems. It can also lead to the erosion of trust in science-based professions. So the point of this video basically is to talk the talk and walk the walk of what we do in anti-MLM activism, which means discussing potential harm in a constructive way, like having a reason why we're talking about it, concern about it, and not trying to just like brush it under the rug for fear of ruffling feathers. Again, I feel for the vulnerability, but it's the platforming of this content and the attitude, like it's just too much. I'd love to further discuss this with you in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Please, this feels weird to just say this after everything that I read, but if you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe if that's something, I mean, if you're wanting to hear more kind of like unhinged comments about non-evidence-based nutrition supplements, programs, plans, MLMs, like that's what we do on this channel. So I just want to remind people that we are not in a cult, so we can have disagreements in the movement and we should be able to feel free to talk about it like I am doing right now with this video on my channel. 2, just because we give space for discussing things like this within the movement, that doesn't mean that we can't also continue to converse on MLM itself. We have more than one brain cell. We can discuss multiple things. In previous videos with other people and stuff, there are some people who are like, well, they're taking away the focus on anti-MLM and we should just be focusing on that and all this stuff. Like, we can focus on multiple things at once. And if you're just wanting to brush us under the rug, what does that say about credibility within the movement? Like, we need to be able to talk about these kind of things, and talking about things is good. It is okay. We have the ability to freely express those thoughts and opinions and talk about why we may have concerns about those thoughts and opinions. And so if you want to silence that, like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent again. When I see things that remind me of Boo and that whole situation, when that is like infecting anti-MLM, I can't do it. I cannot stay silent. So that's it for this video. Remember, you can strive for health without subscribing to diet culture. Check out the description to get stickers, food is neutral, and toe beans, not pyramid schemes. That's it. I'll see y'all later.